Okay, this should be the first exercise video you're doing. This is, I believe it's called Making a Simple Motion Tween. Just so you know, and I'm going to pop this over here, I am following these same sort of step-by-step instructions, not because I don't know how to do it, but rather when I reference a number, when it says, number 5, name that symbol green ball. I want often my videos to sort of mirror the step-by-step directions that are sort of accompany the videos. As I said in the previous Flash Basics video, sometimes you'll get just this, but for the most part, especially at the beginning of the course, you're going to get both of these. Okay, so without further ado, we're going to head into your first exercise. This is called making a simple motion tween. The idea of a tween is going to make sense once we get to making a motion tween. But we're doing very, very simple stuff here. This is going to lay the basis for much more complicated stuff as we move through the semester. We do these exercises here at the beginning because we need to understand again, some very basic concepts, how to use tools, how to change colors, how to deal with the library, how to deal with the properties. All these different things are very, very important. Okay, so I'm gonna in this one I'm gonna explain stuff much more slowly as we move through these exercises. I'm not going to explain every time what a tween is, what a keyframe is, etc. Okay, now this first exercise, creating the graphic, we're going to open a ActionScript 3.0. So if you were doing this from scratch, it would look like this. File new, ActionScript 3.0, or it would be that welcome screen which was in the Flash Basics video. Please note that when you make a new document, and you can look right here, you can change the width, the height, and the background color. I'm going to keep the background color white for now. And I'm going to keep the defaults at this 550, 400. Again, we're just doing some straightforward exercises. No need to sort of change those. As we move through the semester, you might want to start with a gray background or a green background. Who knows? But that will sort of be a quick and easy way to change that background color as well as the size. You'll note that things are measured in pixels. Flash things obviously play in digital devices. Therefore, we're going to sort of measure them in digital ways. Okay, so we have 550 by 400 pixels. One too many there. All right, I'm going to head into this. It says at the top, where there are various menu items, we're going to insert a new symbol. Symbols, as I mentioned in the Flash Basics video, are the basis from which Flash sort of runs off of. We have 3 different types of symbols. So I'm going to bring this down. For the most part, we are going to deal with a graphic at the beginning of the semester. Later, we're going to get into movie clips and buttons where there is interactivity. But for now, we are just dealing with graphics. Make sure that that type is a graphic. Okay. It says name the symbol green ball. This is number 5. And make sure it's a graphic. Now I want you to watch what happens when I click OK. This white space is going to get much larger. Okay. Now the reason that white space got much larger is because we sort of went to a different locale. In the Flash Basics video, I talked about the library. The library is where sort of our characters, our things are stored. We're inside the library now. We're not on the main stage. It looks very similar because we have a timeline and the tools and everything are in the same spot, but you'll see over here I have scene 1. If I double click on the green ball, this becomes much larger. We're sort of inside the symbol called green ball now. Okay, it's very, very important that you understand the differentiation between being in a symbol, and I get to that symbol by double clicking on it, or being in the scene. Okay, the scene is kind of the main stage, but I want to be inside that green ball. All right. That's step 7, says you will leave the stage and enter the library where we will create our graphic. That's sort of, I gave a long-winded version of that explanation. Now it says click on the stroke color box and choose the white box with the red stripe through it, no stroke color, and click on the fill box and choose a shade of green. Now, stroke and fill are an idea that sort of comes from a program like Illustrator, where when you make a shape, you have a stroke color, which is the stroke that goes around it, and you have the fill color, which is the color that fills it. For demonstration purposes, I'm going to show you. You can sort of see if we zoom in. there's our stroke, which is the green, and our fill, which is brown. Okay, we want super simple graphics, so I'm going to choose what the sheet says here, and it says choose a stroke color, which is the no stroke. Okay, and that lives right here. Okay, and then choose the fill color of green. Okay, so you'll have that white box with the red sort of strike through it, and then the green fill color here. Okay, next it says choose the oval tool in the toolbox. So the oval tool lives right here, and it says click and hold, draw a circle, and you can make a perfect circle by holding down Shift on the keyboard. So I'm going to draw a green circle. Okay. Now, this step 11 is important in the sense that this is a tool we're going to use quite a bit. Okay, and it's called, and if you roll over these tools in Flash, like many Adobe products, it's called the selection tool. It's the black arrow, and what the black arrow allows us to do is click on stuff and position it. Okay, this center hash mark inside a symbol, meaning inside the library, is sort of an important place. You'll see as I zoom out that this library is kind of vast. It's almost infinite. Okay, we kind of want to be on the center of it. Okay, and that's going to become important later when we start to animate. But it will default to sort of showing you the center, and you'll see that it doesn't have to be perfect, but I kind of want that on that hash mark. Okay, now we've done everything in this library that we need to do. Basically what we need to do is hop over to the scene 1 and create our tween. So I have the sort of step-by-step in 2 parts. Part 2 here is basically making this thing animate. Okay, so first step is what I did, which was I clicked on that scene 1. I was in the library, and I need to click on scene 1. Now I'm sort of in the blank area. Okay, it says take the graphic from the library and drop it on the stage bottom left. I'm going to click hold and drag this guy over here. Okay, position him right there. Now it says move up to frame 60 in the timeline, and we need to go up to the timeline here. Okay, and it says I'm going to click on that, and then it says insert timeline frame. Okay, we basically need to extend this movie out. When we do that, we get this playhead. We need to extend the movie out 60 frames. We need some space for our first quick animation to happen in. Okay, I'm going to zoom out so we can really see this. And then it says choose any frame in the frame between 1 and 60 and click on that frame. Okay, so I'm just going to click in the middle here. And then I'm going to choose insert motion tween. Okay. Now, the timeline turns blue. That indicates that we have what's called a motion tween. The term tween comes from the frames in between the sort of keyframes. A keyframe is a place, and in Flash it's going to show us keyframes with this little black circle, or we're going to get a position frame or position keyframe when we move it up to frame 60 here. These are places where we state that something is so. And what I mean by that is I'm stating that this is here at that moment. I'm going to state that at frame 60 it is at a different place at a different moment. Okay, and this tween in between is going to make up the in between frames. Okay, so let's go back to our step-by-steps. It says click directly on frame 60. I'm going to click directly on frame 60. And then it says with the selection tool, the black arrow, grab the green ball and move it to the top right of the stage. Okay, we get this thing, which is called a path. And we also get our first animation. Okay, so if I move the playhead back and forth, I get the ball moving from point A to point B. Okay, now very important, we need to save this file. So I'm going to go File, Save As. And I'm going to quickly get my animation folder for this semester. Alright, I'm on a Mac. This is going to look different on a PC. but I want to sort of show you how to save things. Okay, so when we save something, we're going to save it as an FLA document. Okay, and I'm very particular. I need this stuff to be called exactly what I state on the files. So it says on that step 10, name your file your first name last name underscore motion tween. So it's going to be David Luke underscore motion tween. Okay, it will add the .fla for you. Do not type a .fla in. Just because you type it doesn't make it that, so we can't type that in. We're going to make sure that that is saved as a Flash document. Okay, so I'm going to save this. And then step 12 is going to create what we need to hand in. If you imagine the .fla file as sort of the master file, we need to create what's called a SWIF. Okay, so I'm going to go Control Test Movie, and I'm going to do it in Flash Professional. And you'll see that I get this sort of standalone file. It's 550 pixels by 400 or whatever that document size said it was. This one's called David Luke Motion Tween.swif. Okay, this is sort of the exported version of the file. These are the files you hand in. Please look at that step 12. It says hand in this motion tween.swif. Don't ever hand in your FLAs. The only time you're giving me your FLAs are if you're having problems or you want me to look at something very particular about your Flash file. But you're giving me SWIFs. I don't want FLAs. I can't say that enough. Over the years, many people give me .fla files. Okay. Now, the last thing that your sort of step-by-step says is to create a different ball, a red ball, going from bottom right to top left. So I'm going to pause the video and quickly do that. All right, let's take a look at how this exercise ends. I added a couple steps on the end of the step-by-step to make sure it's clear. Step 13 says, once you have tested your file, know the green ball works, create a similar animation with a new symbol called red ball and animate that symbol from bottom right to top left. And then it says see video. What we're going to add here is a new layer. Up here at the top, sort of right below our timeline, we have this little icon, and when we roll over it, it says insert new layer. Okay. We can also insert on the timeline a new layer this way. Okay, so either way. So I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to click on that first keyframe of that red ball, or of that new layer, and I'm going to put the red ball down here. Okay. Now I'm going to repeat those steps, create the motion tween, go up to the step or frame 60, and I'm going to move that. Okay. If you want to sort of review how that's done, you're basically repeating steps 2 through 8 on the creating the tween portion. Now, one thing I want to explain, and I'm going to hit save here. I'm going to control test the movie. There we go. Okay. Is that I save the file in this NCC 2D animation folder. Here's my .fla file, and then when I create or when I control test that movie, basically it creates a SWIF, and this is sort of stated on step 12. In the same folder you have the original file. Okay, so you have the FLA, and when you test it, or when you control test that movie, you create that SWIF. Again, this is what you're handing in. Okay. That red ball is sort of simply just repeating everything that we did. So you're sort of going through the step-by-step to do the green ball, and you're basically repeating those, as they say, practice makes perfect, with the green ball. Okay, so I want an animation that looks like this. All right. That's it for the motion tween video. You're going to have one more video here called shape tween, so you should head on to that.